everyone, happy holidays and welcome to the 12 Days of ChrisBondmas, a special series looking at 12 random games leading up to Christmas Day. These games can be anything, except for games that are part of any series running on the channel so far. So, sorry, there's not going to be any Harry Potter, Sonic, Star Wars, Marvel, or Resident Evil. These are games that I don't really want to do a full review series on. Some of them are part of franchises, but most are just sort of one-offs, don't fit into any major franchise, so here they are. And we are getting started with Mario Party, because what is the holiday season without a good party? And with Mario Party, it's going to be a party where tears are shed and friendships are terminated and skin will blister. But we'll get all to that in a second. Released in 1998 in Japan and the following year in North America, Mario Party was released near the beginning of the Mario spin-off train that would soon see the portly plumber and his pals serving it up on the tennis course, going for par on the golf course, and finally beating the ever-loving hell out of each other. Mario Party is a board game of sorts where you play as characters from the Mushroom Kingdom and take part in minigames to determine who is the superstar. Wouldn't that be Mary Catherine Gallagher? That too dated of a reference? Will people get that? Mario Party is also one of the earliest Nintendo 64 games to be built for 4 players, and honestly that's where the fun really lies. Now, much like a frat boy at your local 2-year community college, boy does Mario like to party, because there are 17 games in this franchise. That includes 11 main games, 5 handhelds, and 1 weird card game for that weird e-reader thing that I'm pretty sure like 10 people owned. Now, I only own a few games from this series. I have the original, which I stole from Blockbuster back in the day, and that was the only game I owned for quite a while. I only picked up the second game more recently at GameStop in their retro section. I didn't actually get back into the series until Mario Party 8 on the Wii, and then I bought Mario Party 10 and most recently Super Mario Party on the Switch. I never played the GameCube ones because I didn't have enough controls to play with other people, and I didn't feel the need to play through solo, though I hear good things about the GameCube games. I would like to invest in adding them to my collection, but good grieving Goombas, these games are expensive. I mean, what the hell is the disc coated in gold? Why is it that much? Regardless, today we're looking at a game that started it all, the original Mario Party. So is Mario Party worth the hangover, or should you bail and head home early? The story of Mario Party, like I said, is extremely simplistic, as the opening cutscene illustrates. Mario, Luigi, Peach, Donkey Kong, Wario, and Yoshi, most likely tired of racing around on go-karts, are trying to figure out who the superstar is. Wario thinks the superstar should be roided out, Mario thinks it's him because he's the title character, while Peach is probably just glad she's not waiting away in another castle at this point. The group bickers for a while, pissing the hell out of Toad here, who decides that the best course of action is to take the pipe in Mushroom Village and head out on an adventure playing minigames, because that will totally pick out the best superstar. And that's the plot. After that, you play each board, and whoever wins is crowned the superstar. This is a party game, and therefore it doesn't really need a plot, though I applaud the effort to include this opening scene to at least set the stage, as it were. So there are a bunch of things to do in Mario Party, but we'll start with the main mode before we dive into the side content. The main mode here is Access from the Pipe, and this lets you select the character and stage that you want to play on. The goal on each board is to find Toad and pay him 20 coins to buy a star. Though on some boards, Toad doesn't stay in one spot, so you gotta keep an eye on where he moves to. Each stage has its own difficulty and little gimmick to make it stand out, which is nice since it would be boring if every stage played out the same way. There's a DK Jungle Adventure, which has you dodging boulders, and that can force you to move to another spot on the board. Peach's Birthday Cake, which is linear, but it gives you the ability to plant piranha plants to steal stars from your opponents if they land on a space. Yoshi's Tropical Island, which has multiple paths and has you paying an increasing toll to make progress across the bridges. Luigi's Engine Room has a bunch of switches that open and close various pathways to reach the goal. Mario's Rainbow Castle, which has you trying to wait for Toad to appear at the end in order to buy a star in place of Bowser. And there's also Wario's Battle Canyon, and sorry there's no footage of that since I hate that level since it's just a bunch of like small circles and you have to blast your way to the other small circles from a cannon, and I just hated this board as a kid, so I never liked to play it. There's also a secret board upon playing all of the others and gaining 100 stars as well, which I won't spoil what it is, and that's because I don't want to spoil it, and not at all because I have a life and I don't have time to stack up on 100 stars and play through all the boards. Before setting out on the board, you select the AI difficulty and how many turns you can play, which varies between 20, 35, and 50. If you're looking for an insane time, just crank that thing up to 50 and watch how much insanity can ensue. I'm just saying. Once you're on the board, the goal, like I said before, is to find Toad and buy stars. You roll the die, move around, and it's standard board game fare. As you move around, you land on blue and red spots. The blue will give you 3 coins, while the red subtract 3. There are question spots which cause various things to happen, like moving Toad to another spot, or affecting something on the board, like activating the boulders on the DK board. As you move around, you'll encounter Boo and Bowser. Boo can steal coins from opponents for free, or even steal stars for 50 coins. And trust me, the AI will always go for the person in first to steal coins or stars, so don't underestimate them. Though honestly, the Boo feature is where friendships and family bonds go to die, since it's most likely going to cause mayhem when human players steal from each other. I used to play this with my sister a ton as a kid, and we would get so mad when one of us would steal from the other that we had to make it a rule that we would only steal from the AI, only if it was an option. Bowser, on the other hand, brings out a roulette wheel of sorts, and it can cause various things to happen, though most often than not, he's either going to steal all your coins or switch your coins with another player. Finally, the last option on the board is Chance Time. Chance Time is the ultimate feature in Mario Party's arsenal to throw a screw in the cogs of how a game might be progressing. Chance Time allows you to hit 3 spinning blocks. 2 blocks select characters, including yourself, while the middle block causes an effect like swapping all your coins or all your stars. So yeah, you can see where this is going. At first, the block spins slow, but as you hit each one, it gets faster and faster. The first 2 blocks spin slow enough that you can probably put the odds in your favor, but the last one spins at Mach 5 and it's luck of the draw what's going to happen. So this space is filled with tension. Do you throw yourself into the mix and hope that the middle blocks land in favor of you, or do you want to cause chaos between other players? Regardless of whether you play with human players or AI, Chance Time will more than likely change the entire course of a game. After everyone rolls the dice and moves, and you finish vacuuming up all the pieces of broken glass from the vase you smashed when Wario stole your star and Yoshi took what coins you had left, you get to play a minigame. Mario Party has 50 minigames, though there are a few different setups for what game is played. If everyone landed on blue, you play a 4-player minigame, of which there are 25. If 1 player landed on red, you get a 3 versus 1, which there are 10. If 2 players landed on red and 2 on blue, it's a 2 versus 2, and there's only 5 of those. The remaining 10 minigames are single-player games, which can only be accessed if you land on the space on the board. If you win a minigame, you gain coins, while if you lose, you get nothing, though there are some minigames that cause you to lose coins. And all these minigames are a blast. Honestly, there's like maybe 5 or so that I grow when they show up in the rotation. They're simple in nature, but fun nevertheless. There's Buried Treasure, which has you all frantically digging to find signs that point to a treasure, though it's always funny when you find the treasure before you even find a sign. Handcar Havoc puts you with a partner working as a team to power a minecart as you speed your way through a course of twists and turns. Mushroom Mix-Up is like a game of Simon Says, though the longer it goes on the faster it gets, and with all the characters scrambling around to land on the right mushroom, it can be a real nail-biter. Crazy Cutter has you tracing the lines around a drawing of a Mario character, with the goal being to trace it with the most accuracy. Limbo Dance is intense as you have to time hops to go under each limbo pole without knocking it over. There's Grab Bag, where you have the chance to steal as many coins as you can from your fellow players, though in one game where I recorded, I was the clear leader and I thought for sure all the AI would be coming after my ass, but this happened. Guess I just didn't feel up to it. The less interesting ones would be Bumper Bowl, since you kind of just crash into each other, and it always tends to end in a draw. The Slot Machine, which just has you playing the slots to get coins, which is kind of a vanilla game compared to how the others work. And Hammer Drop, where you just kind of run around on a platform and try to collect coins and bags, and avoid the hammers that the Hammer Bro drops. Though with 4 characters in a small platform, this can be a little aggravating. Finally, there are the minigames that I like to call the Skin Blistering minigames. Several minigames like Tug of War, Paddle Battle, and Pedal Power require you to rotate the N64's analog stick, and while I'm sure Nintendo wanted you to place your thumb firmly on the joystick and make circles with it, that doesn't really pan out. If you want to try that method, your finger will likely slip off, or you won't be spinning it as fast enough to win. So you will most likely use your palm, and this will 100% work and 100% burn a blister into the palm of your hand. This happened to me so often as a kid, but I did it because I wanted to win. Finally, when I was a bit older, I would put the bottom of my shirt over the joystick and then put my hand over that and rotate the joystick that way. And this works loads better since there isn't a blister seared into my hand. Nintendo actually got into some hot water with this little issue back in the day, and they had to spend upwards to about $80 million and send these gloves to people who had purchased the game. So after all the turns have been spent, tears have been shed, and your cousin is laying in a pool of blood dripping out of the hole in his hand, what happens? Well, the winner should be whoever got the most stars, right? Sort of. Yes, the player in first is the one who had the most stars. If there's a tie with stars, then the amount of coins decides who's the first place winner. Oh, and I actually looked this up, but in the event that both totals match of stars and coins, both players have to roll a die, and whoever gets the higher roll wins. And honestly, this is rare. This has never happened to me in the entire history of me playing this game, though I can imagine how much that stings to have collected a bunch of stars and coins, hold on to them for all 50 turns, and then only to come in second place because the random die roll screwed you at the 11th hour. So that's it, right? We have the player with the most stars and coins. Boom, instant winner, bring out the champagne. Well, hold on to your bombs, because the game will now give out random bonus stars. There are 3 stars given to the person who had the most coins at any time during the game, the person who hit the most green question mark spaces, and finally to the person who won the most minigames. And these bonus stars can easily swipe victory away from the supposed first place player, and trust me when I say this will happen 75% of the time. So how does this main mold hold up? Well, it kinda depends on a few things. The first thing we need to address is that Mario Party is not really based on skill. There's not really a strategic element to this game. Sure, you could go out and win every game and hoard all the coins and steal stars from people, but the game's logic will eventually kick in and have the AI steal stars back, or have you land on a Bowser space. You can be riding high and mighty for 3 turns and then fall flat on your ass 3 turns later. And this can be frustrating depending on your setup. If you play with the AI, then it can be annoying since the odds of game logic kicking in to break your lucky streak is going to be sky high. And so you'll spend most of the game maintaining a lead and then wondering when it's all going to fall to pieces. If you play with 3 human players, it can still be frustrating, but not in the same way. So you and your friends screwing each other over is different than the game screwing with you, I feel. The chaos that can ensue in a basic game with AI is ratcheted up to 1,000 when you play with friends, and that chaos is just pure energetic fun, not throw something at the wall kind of fun. You're all in the same boat, since the game logic will be coming after all of you at some point, so it's kind of like being on a team versus the game's AI rather than the AI ganging up on you if you go at it solo. And for those wondering if this whole the game logic kicks in to hurt you when you're doing your best is like series standard, it is, because from what I've heard, pretty much every game in the series works like this. Now let us move on to the side content. The biggest side content is the minigame house. Here you play a tutorial-based party in the Pot O Skill. The board here is more vanilla than the one in the adventure mode pipe. There's no blue-red, question mark spaces, no Boo, no Bowser, chance time spots, it's all gone. Also, there's no Toad to buy stars from. The goal here is just to move around the board and collect the most coins. After you finish up, you can use those coins you've obtained, as well as the ones you got from the adventure mode, to buy the minigames from the Mushroom Lady to play whenever you want. Some of them are cheap, while some can go up for about 500 coins, though granted, if you play with more human players, you gain a ton of coins in this mode, so you'll most likely have enough to buy a few each time you finish. Also here you can set up your own little party without the board and all the added bells and whistles, though the options here are painfully limiting. You can only play games in batches of 1, 3, 5, or 7, and the remaining options here just turn off the instructions screen, the results screen, and the winner screen. That's it. Though you pick whatever minigame you want provided you've played it before and you've bought it. Though the Mushroom Lady is kinda nice, she'll let you try certain games out that you haven't bought for a small fee. I mean, Mushroom Lady's gotta make a living, it's the only game she's in, so. The last major aspect of the game is Minigame Island, which has you selecting a character and playing through all the minigames in a somewhat linear fashion on a world map similar to an old school Mario game. The minigames are the same from the adventure mode, only now there are sort of objectives to them. Sometimes you have to collect a certain number of coins, though often the goal is just to win. This section kind of acts as a hard mode to the minigame since the objectives are here now, so if the basic games were too simple and you want more of a challenge, here you go. Also, this is kind of an easy way to replay all the minigames without having to buy them. The other places in Mushroom Village is the shop and the bank. The bank, plain and simple, just holds the items that you buy from the shop. Now I'm showing off what you can buy in the store in the bank because in my file I already bought everything, so the shop in my file is empty. The shop can allow you to buy coin boxes and blocks, which adds more WTF game logic to the boards as if there wasn't enough of that going around anyway. For coin boxes, there are the Lucky Box and Casino Box. The Lucky Box gives you a 10% interest when you put coins into it, and the Casino Box is far too risky to use as it can double or half of what you got, and I can only imagine the pain felt after playing a 50-turn game with 4 human characters and collecting a ton of coins, only to have this box half all the hard work you toiled away for. As for blocks, you get the Warp Block, which can switch you in place with another player at random, the Event Block, which can bring you directly to Koopa for coins, to the Boo to steal things, or Bowser if the game just outright hates you, I guess. There are plus and minus blocks, which add or subtract coins from your roll. I think it's easy to figure out which one does that. And finally, the last blocks are the speed and slow, and these blocks contain numbers that are either all low numbers or all high numbers, again depending on the block you get. And that's Mario Party. So how does it hold up? Well, I kind of summed it up earlier. If you're playing against the AI, I think you're going to get bored of it real fast. Yes, it has some solo modes, but going up against the AI players in the game itself alone can be torture. You really need to play with friends, even if it's just one other person. Another reason I stress you need another human player is that the game can drag when you're watching 3 AI players take their turns. Especially if they land on a solo minigame, which you can't skip, and for some reason they seem to land on it like multiple times in one game, it's insane. You'll never land on it, but they'll always land on it. The game can seem unfair and hurt you just when you think you're doing your best, but as long as you're playing with other people that understand how random the whole game is to begin with, then Mario Party can be a ton of fun. Hell, even after all these years, I still bust this out when I have some friends over. Sure, we could play the more recent Super Mario Party, but the fact that we would all rather play a game from 20 years ago is saying something. The minigames are fun and engaging, and there's always a feeling of excitement after everyone finishes their turn and you wait to see what minigame will pop up. The Mario series proceeded to find success with each preceding installment. These sequels don't really have that much to do other than add new boards, characters, and minigames. If you can find any of the older games and you have a small fortune to spend, go for it. Though avoid Mario Party 9 and 10, because those games put all the characters into a car and you move around the board, like, all together, and you play video games only if you land on a space, which sounds really asinine in hindsight. So come back tomorrow as the 12 Days of ChrisBondmas will continue. Thanks for watching.